Hello, fantasy players, and welcome to week 11 in the NFL season. Wow, my face looks really dark. Gotta get some better lighting. Let's see what this does. It makes it worse. Well, hopefully the lighting gets better. Not really sure what to do. It's pretty bright in here. Guess I gotta get like a light to come in behind or something. So sorry that my face looks a little dark, but that's okay. Really, what you need is to be able to hear my voice and hear the fantasy gold that I am about to bestow upon you, the viewers. So let's go ahead and start, as I always do, with the injuries that we have going on this week. Things to look at and watch as far as injuries go. Um, so let's see here. Go ahead and start with Jordan Howard is unlikely to play against the Patriots. I don't think Jordan Howard was a very good start, regardless of health. The Patriots have been pretty good. Defense, obviously, they got chewed up a little bit by the Baltimore Ravens a couple weeks ago before they went on their bye. But Patriots are going to be in Philadelphia for this game. But Bill Belichick is really good after a bye and really good after a loss. So you put those two things together. I think it'd be a pretty safe bet that they win this game. And I don't think the Eagles, honestly, are going to score a ton of points. So, but regardless, Jordan Howard is unlikely to play. I guess keep an eye on it, but he's not somebody, especially with an unlikely to play and the matchup, not somebody that I really want to roll with, regardless of health. So, moving on, Damian Williams has a questionable designation, so keep an eye on that. It might be LaShawn McCoy toting the ball again. It's been really tough to guess the backfield for the Chiefs this year. It hasn't been very. What's going on, Justin? It hasn't been very easy to predict because McCoy went out and had a great game, and then he fumbled, and then he sat, and then Williams went off the week after that, and so on and so forth. It's really been like this revolving door between the two guys there, and it's really been difficult to guess who's going to be the guy, who's going to be the one to really take over that backfield, and it's been impossible to guess. But yeah, if you have Williams, I would definitely try and find a backup plan for him with him being questionable, and especially because he fumbled last week, and there's a good chance Andy Reid just sits him anyways or gives him hardly any work and lets McCoy pretty much be the bell cow there. So keep an eye on that. George Kittle is listed as doubtful again, so I don't think he's going to play. I think that the Niners would be smart to let him sit another week because, he's their best player, as their coach is quoted saying that Kittle is their best player. So he's someone that you want healthy. You're going to make the playoffs. You were the last undefeated team until last week when you took a divisional loss to the Seahawks, who obviously are a really good team, definitely playoff bound for sure. So, yeah, I think they would be smart just to sit him another week anyways, give him some rest because you want your best offensive weapon and your best player on your team in general to be healthy. Obviously, once you start getting into that late playoff push and into the playoffs, you want George Kittle healthy. So I fully expect them to sit Kittle again. Alshon Jeffrey is not going to play against the Patriots. I wouldn't have started him if he was going to play. I'm just mentioning it. So anybody who has Alshon Jeffrey who was thinking of taking a shot and thinking of maybe playing him against the Patriots, I would definitely not do it. I wouldn't have done it if he was healthy, but now he's not even healthy. So he's not going to go, obviously. So Le'Veon Bell was listed as questionable. Again, that's just a monitor thing. He's been questionable, I think, like multiple weeks in a row now. He's had a couple MRIs. So I'm pretty sure that pretty sure that he's going to go this week, but I think that he is someone, just based on volume alone and how much they've been using him, you can still start him. So I guess just monitor the situation with him, make sure that he's a full go, and then you could fire him up in your lineups. David Montgomery is deemed questionable. That's a little tough because that's Sunday Night Football, and I know he's kind of been a bit of a darling the last couple of weeks, because he finally started to get a boost in his play time and in his opportunity. And obviously a rookie, a lot of people liked him, very talented guy. But it sounds like he's questionable. It's always tough when you have the Monday game, the Sunday night game, whatever, later games. When you have a guy who's questionable, it can be really tough to decide whether you're going to start him or not, especially if it's a true game time decision. But I would err on the side of caution with David Montgomery for sure, and try and plug somebody else in just because of the doubtful there. So Adam Thielen definitely out for another week. Not really much to say there. Don't play him. He's still hurt. Matt Stafford is out for at least one more game. He's got broken bones in his back, so I'm going to be a little surprised if he comes back after only taking 2 weeks off. But he's a guy that plays through pain. I feel like he's got a broken back or broken something rib every year that he plays through. So he's a bit of an Iron Man for sure, but he's going to be out again for this week. Devontae Freeman's not going to play. That was pretty much an obvious thing. A lot of people already knew about that, but I just want to point it out in case you live under a rock, or you only tune into my live stream. So Brian Hill, the backup there. There's really no competition for touches. So fire up Brian Hill in your lineups for DFS, for week-long tournament GBP. Just fire up Brian Hill. The touchdown upside is huge. The matchup is great against the Panthers. There's no reason not to be playing Brian Hill. And I'll say this, it's already, passed obviously, but James Conner left Thursday night's game again after pretty quickly. So that's a little bit concerning. I actually traded for James Conner in one of my leagues, because I figured, he's hurt, but he'll come back and he'll have a nice playoff push for me. And he's actually my third running back on that roster. I have Chris Carson and Christian McCaffrey. So I felt pretty awesome about James Conner being my RB3. But if he can't get healthy, that trade's obviously going to be a complete bust for me. So I'm really hoping that he's able to get healthy and I'm able to get some solid games out of him down the stretch in some of my playoff matchups. So Justin says, I'm having trouble finding new followers for you. They all turn it off when they see your Patriots jersey. So, yes, I am wearing my awesome Kyle Van Noy autographed, no big deal, autographed Patriots jersey. Yes, I'm a Pats fan. Anybody who knows me knows this. But I strive not to let that go to my head too much, or I guess I make sure that it doesn't skew my analysis, because as much as I am a fan of the Patriots, I really like NFL football in general and fantasy football. And I want to win my leagues and I want to give good advice that is correct. So, I don't really prop the Pats players up, and I don't go the opposite way either, where I try and overcompensate and make them all sound bad. I try and be realistic about it, what I really think fantasy wise, and analyze the team. So, I don't consider myself a homer when it comes to fantasy analysis, but I'm definitely a homer when it comes to cheering for the Patriots every Sunday or, whenever they play. So, moving on, Juju suffered a concussion in that Thursday night game as well. Amari Cooper has been practicing in a limited fashion, so keep an eye on that there. Christian McCaffrey got a full practice. I guess he was having a foot issue, but it's Christian McCaffrey. So, he's going to go, he's going to play, and he's going to play amazing because he is a fantasy cheat code. And I am a proud owner of CMC, and it's been very, very fun to get an average of like 30, 35 points from one position on a week-to-week basis. I mean, you want to talk about just consistency. McCaffrey has been so consistent and so good, and that's really hard to find. I mean, you could find a guy that will have a 30-point week here or there, or 25, but for a guy to consistently put up those numbers week in and week out and really be matchup proof and game script proof, that is a valuable asset for sure. So other than that, Matt Breida is out, and Austin Hooper is a long shot to play this week, I guess. So probably not going to play. Jacoby Brissett is going to be back most likely under center for the Colts. So that's nice for the Colts, especially. Brian Hoyer was not getting it done. So, yeah, I'm sure they'll be happy to have Brissett back. Justin's actually a Colts fan, so I'm sure he can agree with me there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the weather. Not a whole lot to worry about as far as weather goes. Again, it's yet another pretty clear week. You guys ready for this? Check this out. It's my mug. You probably can't see it. It says wifey. So, refreshing. It's actually, obviously, it's my wife's mug that I'm borrowing because for some reason we haven't purchased cups yet. I don't really know why. We have like 2 glasses and then a bunch of mugs and some mason jars. So, you're thirsty, you go to the shelf or cupboard and you grab something and there you go. So, all right, moving on to the weather. Excuse me. So, the first one is the Texans at the Ravens. It looks like it's going to be 44 degrees and there's a 3% chance of rain. So 44 degrees isn't frigid temperatures. It's chilly though. And 3% chance of rain is basically nothing. So I don't think we're really going to have to worry about that. The one thing to keep an eye on though is it does say that there's going to be some moderate winds with strong gusts blowing from sideline to sideline. So this is going to make passing and kicking a little bit difficult. Justin Tucker is an insane kicker though. So I mean, you don't ever sit Justin Tucker. He's the best kicker in the league. So yeah, you would definitely want to stick with him. So and then on the other side of it, I mean, Lamar and Deshaun have that like rushing upside. So even though like wind might play somewhat of a factor here, these are 2 quarterbacks that can really make a lot happen with their legs. So I'm not really too concerned about any of what's going on here as far as the weather in this game. And moving on to some of the next games here, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot more. Sorry, a couple dome games, obviously, clear skies, pretty much light winds. See, the Jets and the Redskins are also going to have some strong wind gusts blowing from sideline to sideline. So hopefully you aren't starting a whole lot of the Jets and the Redskins players anyways. I guess Terry McLaurin, Jamison Crowder, some of those guys. I'm really staying away from pretty much anybody else, though, that's not a running back on those teams. Jamison Crowder I like a lot just because he has such a high floor because he sees so many targets. And then Terry McLaurin is just super talented. And he can hit value. I mean, he can give you what you want off of like 2 to 3 catches. He can have some really big plays. So he's someone that you don't need to catch the ball a ton or to see the ball a ton to do a lot with it. So he's someone that I really like still. And then other than that, it looks pretty good. The Patriots and Eagles are going to have some wind, and it's one of the colder games on the slate. They're saying 39 degrees, 2% chance of rain. So I guess you can monitor those. It looks like we just got 3 games with some wind potential with the Texans and the Ravens, a little bit of wind there. The Patriots and the Eagles, a little bit of wind there, and then the Jets and Redskins. But other than that, it looks like pretty much clear skies or cloudy or dome, but no really precipitation or no high winds. It's just more some gusts in a couple of the games, so not too much to worry about there. So that pretty much covers the weather and the injuries. Hope you guys enjoyed that section of the live stream. I have a question here from Van Squad. It says, Mike Williams, or should I find another flex option? I have Mixon on the bench as well. Not crazy about either. So Mike Williams is really tough because I have him in one of my leagues, and he's someone that I keep trotting out there. I'm like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's going to catch a touchdown this game. He's going to blow up this game and, have an awesome matchup. And he's had opportunity, and he's been okay. He hasn't been garbage. He's been okay, but he hasn't really been that big play. And I kind of say this every time people ask me questions about, who should I start? Who should I sit? And a lot of you guys might know this, but I just want to kind of touch on it just to make sure that I cover it. A lot of things are matchup dependent. You really want to look at who you're playing against. What's your record? What's the record of the team you're playing against? Should this be an easy win for you? Do they have a ton of guys on bye, etc.? Because if it's somewhere where you think you have a really good shot of winning, you want to go with a floor play. You want to go with someone that has a really solid floor, just so you're kind of staying even. You don't need to take a big risk and take a shot or anything like that. But if it's someone who has a great record, maybe your record's not so good, and you really need a win, and they have a solid lineup and with solid matchups this week for their players, then you might want to take a shot and play some guys that have some more upside and have more opportunity to kind of really explode. So as far as Williams and Mixon go, I like we got another question coming in. I like Mixon as the floor play, to be honest, with some upside. When it comes to a flex spot, I really lean. Okay, so Van Squad says he's playing division leaders, so he needs a big score. I'm gonna lean Mixon just because he did have a really good week last week, but he had so many opportunities. I believe it was 32 touches, and that has not at all been his norm. So it's hard to say off of the 1 week sample of a good game that he's going to continue that. But what's really nice about Mixon is that Mixon has both of those aspects that I'm talking about, where I expect him to have a pretty decent floor. Like, I would be surprised if he gives you any less than like 10 points. But he also has a decent ceiling, decent touchdown upside. So I could see him, getting into the end zone a couple of times. My biggest concern is that the Raiders are actually really good against the run and not very good against the pass. And Mixon, although he can be used in the pass game, they just haven't really been using him like that this year for some reason. So I do like Mixon. Let me just take a look really quick at my rankings here to just see where I have them slotted. But I'm leaning Mixon, even though the matchup is really tough. And Williams has a good matchup against KC theoretically, but Philip Rivers has been awful. He's been so bad. I mean, just bad. So I'm really, I'm sick of trotting Mike Williams out there and getting disappointed by Philip Rivers sucking at football. So that's really, why I rather go with the talent of Joe Mixon and go with the fact that I know he's got a guaranteed workload, and I just hope that his guaranteed workload is going to be what it was last week, where he's getting 30 touches. Because, I mean, you give a guy who's that talented 30 touches, he's going to make something out of it. He's going to definitely be able to do that. Vans, is this a PPR or a standard league? I'm going to assume PPR just because that's what most people are in, so I can take a look at my PPR rankings. But yeah, if you're listening still, Van Squad, you can let me know if it's PPR or standard scoring, because that will change it a little bit. I mean, I guess I'll just say this: if it's standard, definitely Mixon, and if it's PPR, then that gives Williams a little bit more of a upside here. So let me just scroll down here and try and see where I have these guys. See, Mike Williams. Yeah, I really don't like him this week. I mean, he's okay. Yeah, you got to go Joe Mixon, man. I mean, Mixon's your best bet there for sure. I can't see a path for Mike Williams. No matter the Chiefs, I think are one of those teams that people think that they're a terrible defense, but they've been halfway decent this year, honestly. And yeah, I'm gonna have to lean Mixon. I mean, that's your best shot, and I don't think you're gonna find anybody on the wire that's gonna be able to fill in and do any better. So even though it's a tough matchup, I'm really gonna go with the workload in my flex spot with Mixon, as well as just the talent, overall talent, and how good he is. So all right, so Van said it's PPR. So yeah, I would still go Mixon there. That's your best bet for sure. Let's see. What's going on, EJ? How are you doing? Thanks for checking in and checking out my live stream. Yes, Philip Rivers is an old man, and he's not going to be a Charger next year. And I got to be honest with you guys, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of Tyrod Taylor, especially if they lose this game, because I could definitely see the Chargers saying, you know what? Phil Rivers is not going to be our quarterback next year. He's going somewhere else to suck it up somewhere else. So let's just see what we got in Tyrod. Let's see what that guy's got, if he's got anything left in the tank. And, maybe they can build around Tyrod for at least a little while, next couple of years, and then go and get a quarterback. Or maybe they try and grab someone this year and develop them. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised at all if we see Rivers go to the bench and we see some Tyrod Taylor. And if we see some Tyrod Taylor, that's going to be exciting, because I love Tyrod Taylor for fantasy because he's got the rushing floor. He is a very good deep ball passer. So, I mean, that would be exciting for fantasy purposes to see Tyrod Taylor out there. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say he's Pat Mahomes or something, but he's just an exciting player. He can do a lot with his legs. And like I said, he's pretty good at throwing the ball deep. So that could definitely spell fantasy goodness for sure. So Mostert or Ty Johnson? This one is easy for me. It's Mostert because the the Detroit Lions are a dumpster fire at the moment without Matt Stafford there. I expect this game to be competitive and close, but I expect it to be a passing game. Detroit's going to be playing from behind, and I certainly expect Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones to do some work in the pass game. So I completely am on the side of Mostert, especially because Tevin Coleman came up limping at the end of the game, and then he didn't play at all during like the overtime. And I think he actually might have been out a good portion of the fourth quarter of that game against Seattle as well. So it looks like Coleman might be a little bit banged up. And Matt Breida is out, obviously. So I definitely like Mostert. I know that it's crazy with the 49ers because it's like they can put whoever they want back there. And if you weren't paying attention to the jersey number, you wouldn't notice a difference. They all run well. It's such a good running offense. And now they have Kyle Juszczyk back and he's healthy, best fullback in the league. That team has such a good run scheme that it makes it very nice for the running backs. It makes it pretty easy for them to be successful, I think. So yeah, definitely Mostert for me. Let's see here. Going on down the questions here. Lamar Jackson is the best QB in the league. I don't know, EJ. I don't know. Best QB in the league? No. He's really good, really talented, really exciting. He's fun to watch. But if I were building a team from scratch, I'd probably want Russell Wilson, to be honest with you. Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes is still really good. I think he's just not in the forefront of people's minds because he had a couple of bad games, then got hurt and didn't play for a couple of weeks. So, yeah, I think people kind of forget how freaking awesome Pat Mahomes is and how he's still quite young. I think people just kind of have Lamar on the mind. They're love struck. It's like they're at the bar right? And they're having a drink, and then all of a sudden they look across the way, and the sky parts, and a beam of light shines down on this beautiful woman, and angels are singing, and that's what Lamar Jackson is to everybody. It's all exciting because it's new, and it's there, and we haven't seen it in a while, or maybe even ever, with his rushing ability. But as talented as he is and as awesome as he is, I would still rather have Russell Wilson. I would rather have Pat Mahomes. Probably still rather have Aaron Rodgers. I know people are pretty down on him this year, but I would still take all those guys over Lamar. Show me more than a season's worth of good games. There's been plenty of quarterbacks that have had 16 good games and then fallen off the face of the earth. Like his backup, Robert Griffin. So we'll see. Maybe at the end of it, maybe 10, 15 years from now, we're all hands down Lamar Jackson, greatest quarterback to ever play. But he's got a long way to go. So I still, as far as right now, I would still take Mahomes, Rodgers, and Wilson over Jackson. Let's see. We got Boyd, Gallup, or McLaurin. What's funny, that's probably exactly the order I would put them in. I would go Boyd, and then Gallup, and then McLaurin. Boyd I really like because, he's the number one there right now in Cincinnati, and he's been a PPR machine. He's been a target machine. So I would definitely go with Boyd there. I think he just has the best opportunity and the best chances there. And Gallup is super talented. I like that a lot. I like both Boyd and Gallup. I would 100% play either one of those guys. But if I have to choose between the two, I would lean Boyd. Although monitor the situation with Amari Cooper. If Amari Cooper sits for some reason, he's not able to go, 100% fire up Michael Gallup over Boyd. But if Cooper is playing, then I'll give the edge to Boyd slightly. And then McLaurin, I do like McLaurin, super talented, but his connection really was with Case Keenum, and we haven't really seen them let Dwayne Haskins loose a little bit. They've just been pounding the ball so much and just trying to let Dwayne manage the game as a rookie. They don't want, him to throw too many picks or make too many mistakes and, have it get into his head and have it mess with him mentally, I think. So if they start to loosen up the reins and let him go a little bit, obviously him and McLaurin have connection from college, so it could be really exciting to see what those two guys could do together. But that's a little bit more of a wait and see. But sometimes you got to plug somebody in. So I don't hate McLaurin as a flex play because, as I said earlier in the stream, he's someone that could, 3-4 targets and one of those goes for 60 yards and a touchdown. That's very possible. And then he very much was a good start for you. So definitely still like McLaurin, but out of those three, I like him the least. So EJ says he still plays. I'm assuming you're talking about Robert Griffin. Yeah, he still plays. He's the backup for Lamar, and he actually got on the field for a couple plays last week because the Ravens are big, giant bullies, and we're like, hey, we're destroying the Bengals. Let's put 3 guys with Heisman trophies on the field just to be that team. So I got another question here. It says, will Burkhead be heavily involved this week? No, I don't think so. I think that it's much more likely that it's a James White game. I don't like Sony Michel in this game because, again, the Eagles have kind of been more of a run funnel defense or pass funnel because they've been so good against the run and so bad against the pass. Now, they're also coming off their bye. They're a little bit healthier in their secondary. So I don't think they're going to be as much of a trash can in the secondary as they have been. I think they are going to get a little better, but I still don't look at them as elite or a team to run from at all when it comes to the pass game. But when it comes to run stopping, they are pretty solid. So definitely fading Sony Michel. And I know Rex does a lot. He can run it and he can catch and all that. But I just see this as a James White game. James White is phenomenal catching the ball out of the backfield, and Rex Burkhead is okay catching the ball out of the backfield. So I really think that they're going to slam Rex and slam Sony in there. Try and get a run game going, and it's not going to work. And I think James White's going to have a big game. So I'm fading both Rex and Sony and trying to find another option at running back if I can, for sure. And then we said, okay, so Justin says that he has DeAndre Washington and Burkhead. And you need a prayer from one of them. Well, I guess I would lean Burkhead there because, I mean, if you're choosing between those two, yeah, I really don't like DeAndre Washington at all. So I guess I would lean Burkhead because at least with Burkhead you have a solid chance of him sneaking into the end zone, you know, on a run or a pass. So yeah, I would go Burkhead there and just pray. So yeah, it's got to be Burkhead for me. So. Do we have any more questions? Any more start sit issues? I hope you guys have been enjoying this live stream, and I hope you guys can continue to check it out week to week as I keep putting these out. Shout out to Justin. You can follow him at Justin_FF, or is it FF_? At JustinFF_. That's what it is. On Twitter, and you can find our Twitter for Engage 8 Fantasy. It's on Twitter at Engage 8 Fantasy, the number 8. So definitely like and subscribe, and leave some comments. Let me know what you guys think of this video. Let me know what you think of the weather report and the injuries and start sit, maybe some other segments you guys would like to see, some things you guys would like me to try. Justin and I are working on a website and working on putting out more content on YouTube, some podcast stuff. So we had all kinds of stuff that him and I are working on and talking about, working through. So I hope that we're able to put that all out there for you guys. Oh, I think I missed one. Yeah, I missed one earlier. So pick 2. It's a flex. We have Mostert, Deebo Samuel, Manny Sanders, and Tariq Cohen. I would go Mostert and Deebo. Same team there, but especially George Kittle's not going to play, it looks like, and there's a chance that Emmanuel Sanders doesn't play because he hurt his rib. So if he doesn't play, then it's easy. It's definitely Mostert and Deebo. But if Emmanuel Sanders plays, then I would go with Mostert and Emmanuel Sanders. So sticking with the 49ers there. Not really a big fan of Cohen, so I would stay away from that. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream, and unless we have any more questions that pop up on the chat here, thank you guys so much. Thank you, EJ, for checking in. EJ is my homeboy. He's my future brother-in-law. So shout out, EJ. Hope you're having a good day. I hope you crush it in fantasy this week, man. Can't wait to chat with you soon and get together. So yeah, I hope you're having a great Sunday. Shout out to Justin. Thanks for being my partner in crime with Engage 8 and trying to get the ball rolling with everything. I really appreciate you and your support and being an awesome team member. So thanks, man. I appreciate it. And thanks, Van Squad, for hopping on and showing your support and asking some questions. And thanks to Kenny, who Justin said is listening but can't log on to chat, and said that he was going to hit the like button. So super appreciate that. Thanks so much for the support, guys. And I hope you guys all kill it in your fantasy matchups and just totally smash your opponents. Let me know, tweet, comment, whatever, get a hold of me. It's not hard to do. Reach out and let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, all that fun stuff. Let me know how your matchups went and if I was able to help you at all. All right, guys, thanks. Hope you have a great week.